Back again for another video. On today's topic, we'll be talking about the measure of women. Now, I've been here and there, I've been doing a few things as far as life goes. And of course, I've come across a lot of thoughts in regards to what women are and how they're represented. But just recently, I thought, well, how do you measure a woman? How? How can you quantify what a woman is? Well, I think we should talk about that today. Well, when it comes to quantification, we often use things to measure certain things, right? We actually use things to measure all things. We know the weight of the galaxy. We know the weight of our planet. We know how big our foot is. We know plenty of things in regards to the measurements of objects. We know the measure of brain waves. We can even calculate how many different spectrums of light there are in visible light. We know the wavelengths for those. There are some things that we can't measure, though. We can't measure emotion. We can't measure the things that we can't see. We can't measure thoughts. We can't measure desires. We can't measure the things that we cannot quantify. But a woman is a very tangible thing. There's the objective woman and the subjective woman. Objectively, we consider a woman to be an adult female, necessarily. But we all know that a little bit of subjectivity goes along with that, because there are some who are not emotionally mature enough to be considered adults, right? So once again, that is based upon subjectivity. But again, we are using something to measure that in which we consider to be subjective. Like I said, the measure of a woman's maturity is subjective, but we are using some ruler in order to see what that number is, I guess you can say, what that length is, what that quantity is. We're using some form. Now, collectively as a society, we have come up with different things in regards to measurements. For instance, this is the reason why we have standard versus metric. There's a history behind that. But nonetheless, we are two different societies, one being the United States and the other being the rest of the world, because they pretty much operate in the metric system, right? But we had our reasons for doing that. I mean, you can look into those. I won't go too deep into that because it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about per se. But I'm using that as a pivot point to make my point here, that the measure of things are measured by a collective. We know that to be certain, because if I say something is, I don't know, I'm making up words, 3 Quiznarks, people look at me like I'm crazy. What the hell is a Quiznark, right? Even though I came up with the measurement myself, no one knows what the hell I'm talking about, right? But when it comes to, say, things like inches, if I said that's 3 inches, people be like, oh, okay, I know what 3 inches is. It's because we collectively came to the understanding of what, not only what the length of something is, but the ruler that we're using to measure that thing. We have come to a concise agreement that this is 3 inches, right? Now, in regards to women, what are they? What do we use to measure and quantify them? Well, in my most humble opinion, men are the measure of women. Now. Don't get that twisted. There'll be somebody on here that'll say, oh, well, that's very egocentric to say. That's very solipsistic of you. But let's think about this. In the actual known universe in the world, there are places that we have never been before. We've never been to Venus. We've never been to Mars. We've never been to things even outside of our solar system, such as Betelgeuse. We haven't been to these places. We haven't been to the Horsehead Nebula, We haven't been to the reaches of our own oceans. as far as the depths of them, because we don't have instruments to get there. But somehow we kind of know what's down there. Somehow we know what the surface of Venus is like. Somehow we know these things that we have never experienced. But this objectivity in the quantification of the unknown world in regards to our own reality, there are certain parts that we don't physically understand in regards to what it's like to actually be there, but we quantify them somehow. This is men. This is what we do. We have quantified the entire known universe in regards to, like I said, its weight. We know how much all the mass in the universe weighs together. We know how much that is, right? We know what the surface of Venus actually looks like. Well, yeah, we know what that looks like. We know what its temperature is. We know what its compositional makeup is. We know the difference between a Earth rock planet versus a gaseous planet. How do we know these things? It's because we have different instruments in order to measure these things, right? This is how we know these things. The Hubble telescope, you've seen some of the pictures that come back from that thing. They're remarkable. They're out of this world, if you can say. But nonetheless, we have observed things past the horizon of our own physical eyesight. We quantified them. Men, we quantified them. We quantified all of the animals that we come across in this world that we live in. We quantified the observable universe. We quantify how deep the ocean is. We quantify how much oxygen is in our atmosphere. We quantify everything. This is what we do collectively, and we come to a consensus on what these things are. For instance, oxygen is oxygen because we came to the agreement that yes, that is oxygen. No different than water. We came to consensus that yes, this is water. Now, throughout different cultures, they call it different things, but consensus-wise in scientific notations, we understand these things to be the same, because that's how we explain ourselves and our findings in regards to science and how we quantify things across the globe. There are conversions from standard to metric and metric to standard. So there's no lack in continuity in regards to our understanding as men across this globe. So why would there be for women? We know exactly what women are. We quantified them. But then once again, the tool that we use to measure them is ourselves. Think about it. While a woman is a subjective thing, because once again, I said that, certain levels of emotional maturity, the way a woman carries herself, her disposition, etiquette, her mannerisms, things like that, the things that she knows, things that she doesn't know. These things are all subjective things in regards to how a man quantifies a woman. But relatively so, it is the individual man who holds the power to quantify what a woman is in his life, irregardless of what any woman says herself to be or thinks of herself to be. Every man has this ability. We even do it so much so in regards to quantifying our being in existence that we even do it to other men. We say that's definitely not a man because of X, Y, and Z. Once again, this is subjective, but nonetheless, we hold the power and authority to quantify and define. It is not the woman who called herself woman. It's God who called herself woman. Through man. That's exactly what happened. We are the one who created the languages. We are the one who created the societies. We are the one who created the science. We are the one who created the mathematics. We are the one who created majority of these things in this world. Not saying, I have to make the disclaimer, not saying that women have not contributed in these ways and fashions of creation of the things that I've named, but majority of the existence and observable universe was divine and created by men. So why would that stop at women? We are the ones who measure and define what a woman is, very subjectively and objectively to our own lives. At the point where you allow a woman to define herself as whatever she wants to define herself as in your life, in your reality, in your space, in your existence, you've lost. You've lost the authority that was God given to you. That's just the way I see it personally. We are the ones who define things, and they are not the ones who define things. They can help and assist, but definitely our rule and our God-given ability is what defines the defined, if you will, right? So I wasn't going to make this a very long video, but I thought it was very important to say, because it seems that a lot of men don't understand that they hold this authority. They think that they should share the power of defining what their lives are when they share a space with a woman, when she's looking for leadership from you all the time, no matter what any woman tells you, no matter what any woman says. At least from my understanding, I've rarely seen the instance where this was not the case, where a woman didn't look to a man-made creation or a man-made ideology for a solution for the problems that she has in her life. Rarely do I see women go to a woman-made creation to solve majority of the problems in her life, unless it deals directly with femininity. Femininity is not the complete quantification of a woman's existence. It is definitely a major hub where a lot of things that define a woman comes from. But even in femininity's existence, it didn't exist before man did. Well, I say that very lightly. I'm talking about in the defining of it. It existed just like many things existed. For instance, Venus existed before we defined it as Venus. But what I'm saying is, in regards to the space of what we accept to be our observable universe and our observable reality, we are the ones who firstly define what those things are, even if they are already in existence. So while a woman may have the ability to create and craft her own femininity, it is not her who defines it as feminine. It is the man who defines it as feminine. We are the ones who set the tone for the relationships. We are the ones who set the direction and the magnitude for the relationships. Men can be passive at times. In your passivity, you are allowing her to pick and choose what the direction of those certain things are. Sometimes that's totally fine. For instance, for what the kids should wear, for what should be cooked for dinner, even some more important things, what kind of car to buy. That's totally fine. But as far as defining the existence that you both share in its totality, I don't agree with that. You only lend yourself to chaos. You only lend yourself to outcomes that you aren't able to control or predict. You only lend yourself to destruction. This is my opinion, of course, but I would ask you, when have you seen what I'm saying not to be mostly true? In the things that you have experienced, in the things that you have seen unfold before you. If you look at a lot of these circumstances between the breakdown of relationships, no matter if it's for your family, no matter if it's a football athlete, no matter if it's your close friend or yourself, think about what possibly could have went wrong. I can see very clearly, given enough context, that it is when a man stopped defining and leading the definition of what the relationship is. He didn't put things and keep things in their proper place that were necessary for the structural integrity of the relationship. Therefore, the woman took it over and she crashed it into a mountain. I'm not saying, let me be clear. I'm not saying that women don't have the ability to craft a good relationship. What I'm saying is they don't have the ability to maintain that. Because they want one thing one day and they want another thing another day. It's because they're emotionally in tune with how they should go about this world and this reality. A woman feeds everything that she sees, hears, loves, whatever the case may be, through her emotions first, and then it may hit rationality. May. It doesn't always. But that's not how we operate as men. Everything goes through, well, it's supposed to, right? Everything goes through our rationale first and then the emotion second. There are some times where we do prioritize the difference in that, but it is rarely the case in regards to what an actual man is and how he conducts himself and accesses the reality. These are just the facts of the circumstances. Again, my own subjectivity applied to what a man is and what a woman is. This is my reality. I am the one who controls what this definition of a man and woman is. If anyone has anything to say to the contrary, they're well within their rights to do so. But in this reality, I'm the one who dictates what the measure of a woman is. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. I haven't updated those things in a very, very long time. Jeez, I've been so busy with school. My goodness. These things are very overwhelming at times, and they soak up a lot of your time. Anyone who's gone for a higher level degree understands exactly what I'm talking about. And for those who have not, please empathize with me and understand that I am very occupied in time in regards to the responsibility that I've taken on. Unfortunately, my channel has taken a back seat to those responsibilities, but I would hope that my listeners and viewers would understand this. But anyways, this has been a Wolf in Made of Clothes. May you have a good day. And of course, you know it. Peace be with you.